you have to be genuine, and you have to really engage with someone. And you have to ask them, are you okay? And then go a little bit further. So you've got to understand the complexity of human emotions. So people's struggles aren't always evident on their faces. But if you're a friend and you really care, you'll pick up the subtle cues when somebody's just not right. And emotional well-being is a spectrum. So you can be, it doesn't mean you're okay or you're not okay. You can be somewhere in the middle, but incredibly unstable. And one day you could feel fantastic, and the other day you're just not coping. I'm not talking about, people who have manic depression in this circumstance. It's just that you're just not coping one day, and the other day you're feeling like you're okay. You can cope. You can get through anything. So it's not as simple. And it's important to have meaningful conversations with people. It's important to actually dig a little deeper. So I'm just going to give you some examples. Somebody says, if you really think somebody's not okay, it's a good introduction. Are you okay? But are you okay is what we call a finite question, because there is a yes or no answer, right? Fine or I'm not fine, right? Doesn't open up the question and allow people to then not give a simple I'm okay or I'm not okay answer. You can say things like, I've noticed that something's different. What's different? You're not behaving the same. I noticed that you're a little bit more irritable. I've noticed that you're not participating. I've noticed that you're not communicative or talking. Show that you actually have observed changes in behavior, because that will allow them to think, wait a minute, I'm not masking this so well. I'm not dealing with this so well. I'm not covering it up. People are starting to see through, and it gives them the opportunity to say, it's surprisingly in what way. Somebody might come back to you and say, in what way have I not behaved properly? In what way am I doing different? You can just, and suddenly the conversation is opened up. So if somebody had said to me before, I've noticed that you're being erratic, that your behavior is being erratic, or you're drinking a bit more, or, you just seem to be eating and eating and eating. A lot of people comfort eat. So what's going on? How can I help? That's an important question. Talk to me. Just say to somebody, talk to me. It's not a yes or no question. Talk, I'm here for you. Do you want to go somewhere else? Do you want to catch up for coffee? Do you want to go somewhere private? And then if they say no at that time, follow up. Follow up the next day. Follow up a day later. And say, do you want to talk today? Don't just let it go. Because when you let it go, that's when people think, well, they really don't care. They asked once, they inquired twice. The next day, it doesn't matter anymore, and it's all gone. So with Are You OK, the whole organization, Are You OK is great because it fits really nicely on a t-shirt. I see a lady wearing a t-shirt out there. And it fits really nicely on a napkin. They have Are You OK, they're napkins. But Are You OK is in danger of becoming tokenistic, because it looks like a slogan. But the organization actually has a framework to take it further, and it's called ALEC, A-L-E-C. So A is ask, right, which is, I've spoken about already. The next thing is, L is listen. Okay, and that's really, really important. When you listen to somebody, even though the answer may sound it's okay, you will hear undertones in what somebody says to you. If somebody says, I'm okay, I'm all good, it's all fine, it doesn't sound right. It sounds genuine. It just sounds disingenuous. It just doesn't sound honest. So you can go a little bit further. The next thing is probably the most important thing, what that E is, and that is encourage them to get help. encourage them. Sometimes I would even go as far as saying, might be controversial, drag them kicking and screaming. But you can't force somebody to get help when they don't think they need to. But encourage them to get help. Provide them with resource. Send them a text. You know, it's send them a text with a resource. I'm not saying send them a text that says, "Are you okay?" Send them a text with a resource that says, "Here's a number for Lifeline. Here's a psychologist I know, and he or she has been brilliant, and it's helped me, or it's helped a friend, or somebody along those lines." So encourage them to reach out and get help, because there's help everywhere. Okay, and then follow up, continue, keep it going, keep the conversation going, keep talking, and don't just let it go. Don't let "Are you okay?" just be something that fits nicely on the side of a bus stop. Okay. You really need to take it a step further. So, if you have any questions about me or my story or what I've learned or how I respond to people now, you're welcome to put up your hands and ask me. As I said, I didn't want to do this kind of as a formal speech, so sure.
You've been a South African. Maybe it's just an ingrained culture on male, I've got to be strong, but you were living with this trauma. You knew you had to address it, but you kept suppressing it. Yeah. What made you not, like we're talking today, what made you not go and seek professional help? You know, I think at that stage of life, it's caught up with me, it's been bothering me, I need to address it. And then you went to the extreme, and then you realised after the extreme, there was a lot of people who cared about you. They would have helped you had you taken that initiative in the first place.
There's two parts. There's two parts to the answer. The first is that when you're in a circumstance like I was, okay, people who are sexually assaulted as children, especially males, there are three things that really prevent people talking. One is guilt. Okay, it's huge. You feel guilty, okay, about what's happened. Am I responsible? Did I do something wrong? Okay, so and you don't, and you're terrified to do that. The second one is obvious. It's shame. Okay, you feel shameful about what's happened to you. How are you going to talk about this? How are you going to even explain it physically? What's happened to you? So guilt, shame, and then there's fear. So you fear reprisals. You fear what other people might say. You fear people's judgment. You know, are they going to judge me? Are they going to judge my family? Oh, there goes that woman. You know, her son was.
Yeah, I do mean that respect.
Yeah,
you could have done it confidentially.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just saying that's why people don't speak up, and that's one of the reasons why I never did anything all along.
Yeah.
Then you asked about actually going to seek help. Well, I did. Prior to my suicide attempt, I did. I was with a therapist for a year, but she was the wrong therapist. So it was, I don't blame her for anything at all, but what had happened was that she had given me, she kept, going through like psychoanalysis and opening up about my past, and every time I'd go sit there, I would open up about all these experiences and everything that she happened to me, but she never gave me the tools how to deal with it. She never gave me the techniques that I could use to deal with how my mind was. My mind had been so scrambled. The brain is an interesting thing. When you're 12 years old and it's still developing, it gets so scrambled by an incident like that. All the neurons, literally the wiring in your brain goes completely wrong. I needed to find somebody who'd help me unwire and then rewire so that I started to think properly again. Because I started to think myself, ever since then I thought myself as useless, as a failure, as something to be tossed aside, treated badly, ignored, because that's what had happened to me at 12. So I hope that answers your question. When I did afterwards go to a psychologist who could help me and did help me, she's the most amazing woman. I mean, literally, she helped me change the way I think about life. She's